Goodbye, Charlie Cat. Don't worry, I am going to talk to you in this one. It is true, I will be giving away a very nice item, but this video is actually an exploring camping adventure video. We'll talk about the giveaway a little later. I'm headed west out of Eugene. Yes, towards the coast again. But this time, I'm not looking for some place to camp near the beach. Last time I tried that, I ended up paying to stay in an established campground. Instead, this time my goal is simply to continue my exploration of the lush, temperate rainforest that carpets the steep mountains and ravines of the Coast Range. In fact, I'm not even driving all the way to the ocean today, but cutting up into the hills via a road I have gone past countless times in my life without ever once making the turn up into this picturesque inland valley. One of the pleasures of the Coast Range is the multitude of pristine creeks carving through the forest, and this trailhead looks like a good spot to have a quick lunch before heading deeper into the backcountry. Well, you must think I'm crazy or a glutton for punishment, but I am back in the Oregon Coast Range already. So it was weeks ago when I planned to get out on this trip. Last week I had to be down in Klamath Falls working at my dad's property, and I knew that this week I'd want to get out and do some exploring and camping. I had no way of knowing that some crazy storm was going to come through. There was snow in the hills around Eugene, which means just at very little elevation gain, I was going to run into some sloppy old snow. But then even down in the flats, there's so much water came down that there was flooding everywhere. So I really didn't plan to be back in the Coast Range again, but it seemed like my best hope to be able to get up into some hills, away from the flooded valleys, and not run into snow. Yeah, so I could see this little campground on the map, and it looked like it was right next to the river, and it was a dispersed campground. It's closed for the season, but I wanted to just check it out and see if it looked like someplace I'd like to come back to. As I was here, actually a Forest Service ranger pulled up, and we chatted for quite a while. And turns out that when it is open, it's kind of a well-known spot, probably on the apps or something like that. And it gets full of, well, let's just say he has to call in law enforcement on a regular basis. He has to kick people out. He has to have vehicles towed. And even though the river is right there, it's such a dense forest that you can't actually see the river from any of the campsites. You just have to, hike down through the woods to the water. So probably not a spot I would come back to, but, it's always interesting to check these things out. Those weren't too big. I'd normally drive over them, but that one was kind of sticking up a little bit. I just didn't want to get tangled up in anything. Yeah, so I noticed this little spur that wasn't gated, wasn't blocked. Looked like it was going down to, or up to, I can't quite tell, a couple of landings. Sometimes little spots like that are a good place to camp. Sometimes, you know, it looks like they're out on points, could have views, but in this dense forest, I wouldn't hold my breath on any views. Yeah, this one just is not going anywhere. No one's been down this thing for many, many years. Okay, thought that was going awfully well. One thing that is interesting about the Coast Range is I often find these paved roads way up high along these ridge lines deep into the mountains, whereas in the hills above Eugene and as you sort of move east into the Cascades, man, it is just gravel and dirt. At least when you get this far away from a highway. It just amazes me that there's these paved roads winding through up here. It's kind of a nice break from the gravel road. When I'm getting to a crossroads, I'm just looking at the map and seeing which way looks like there might be something interesting to explore. And, contrary to my usual experiences in the Coast Range, I am finding open gates today. In fact, I'm so used to gates being locked in these mountains that driving through these actually makes me nervous. So I'm double, triple, quadruple checking the map to ensure I am indeed still on national forest land. There has been intermittent sun and showers all day, but I do expect I will be camping in the rain tonight. It's apparent by the sudden misty conditions that this road has veered closer to the ocean. Well, look what I found here. I've actually stumbled across a few campsites today, but this is the nicest one yet. It's already after 5 p.m., and I think I'm going to call this good. funny thing about exploring and camping in the Coast Range is that it can be frustrating because you spend so much time on these little roads that are just carved into these hillsides or that run along the tops of these ridges, and there's just almost no place for, you know, little side roads to go. So you can spend a lot of time running around looking for some place to camp, and maybe it starts to feel a little frustrating. But then when you do find a campsite, whoa, it's extra special. It feels like a gem when you find something. As I was getting camp set up, I realized I could hear something. I couldn't tell if it was the wind coming through the trees or if it was actually the ocean, if I'm close enough to hear the ocean. It's a little hard to see through the fog and the clouds there, but yeah, there's the ocean. It's right there. And that was not my intention at all on this trip. I was really planning to just be inland, just let it be an inland trip in the Coast Range. And here I am, actually closer to the ocean than I ever expected.
And as it turns out, the forest surrounding my campsite is populated by tall, furry creatures.
At the beginning of this video, I mentioned a giveaway, and I am still going to talk about that. I might go ahead and get dinner done first, and then maybe we'll talk about that around the campfire. Now, tonight's dinner has a little bit of a backstory. If you don't want to listen to me talk about what I'm making for dinner or watch me make dinner, you will find chapter links down below. So for many, many years, I made my living doing commercial photography and graphic design. One of my clients was a company that made salmon burgers. They made shrimp burgers and tuna burgers and various types of fish burgers. So I would photograph their fish burgers or salmon burgers or tuna burgers or whatever, and then I would also put together the boxes that they went into, and so that were then, you know, sold in stores or whatever. So one of the things with frozen fish burgers is that you're not supposed to thaw them out. You're supposed to leave them frozen until you cook them. And I know that very well because I added it as part of the labeling on all of the boxes that I put together for them. Very often I ended up with frozen salmon burgers, frozen tuna burgers, frozen shrimp burgers, and I'm not a huge fish eater, but this was one way that I really enjoyed eating fish. They were great burgers. I haven't worked with them for a few years as I've tapered back my business and mostly focusing on doing Softroading the West. I haven't had a salmon burger in so long. And when I got the Iceco APL 35 fridge, which is a dual zone fridge freezer, I was really thinking more in terms of my week-long trips. I've long wished I could bring some frozen foods with me, especially meat, because I'm always worried about carrying raw meat on longer trips. But as I was getting ready to come out and camp on this trip, which is just a little overnighter, I realized, oh, I have a freezer. I can actually bring a salmon burger with me and keep it frozen and cook it at the last minute the way you're supposed to. This is going to be one of those episodes that has a cooking segment in it. And like I said before, if you want to skip it, you can just hit those chapter links below.
I'm starting by making a little slaw to serve both as a topping for my burger and as a side dish. I've opted for Savoy cabbage, which has a lighter texture and sweeter flavor than standard green cabbage. I often like to add some fine slices of Granny Smith apple to bring a crisp, sweet tart freshness to my slaws, and cilantro finishes it with a nice additional lift, as well as a punch of color. I brought a small jar of pickle juice, which has recently become a regular component in my salad dressings. Finally, a little mayonnaise to bring it all together.
So sometime last year, we were in Gold Beach for a few days, and one day my son Colin and I had lunch at a little fish and chip shop there, and it came with this coleslaw, and it was just the best slaw I'd ever had. And I've been trying ever since to sort of recreate it. I think what they had used is some lemon juice and some pickle juice. And a lot of times when I try this at home, I will make it with a little bit of oil instead of using mayonnaise, but it actually works pretty nicely with mayonnaise too. It adds a richness, and I didn't want to bring a little container of oil. Mayonnaise is just easier.
I'm slicing up some avocado to use as a topping for the salmon burger, along with a little bit of pickle for the burger as well. For me, ketchup and mustard don't go well with salmon, so I'm making a burger sauce using a couple of my favorite Trader Joe's items, Zug sauce and this mild fresh goat cheese, mixed with some mayonnaise.
And I know normally you're not supposed to mix cheese with fish, but I think a little bit of this goat cheese with that spicy sauce is going to go well with that salmon burger. Now, this isn't the brand that I used to work with. They don't sell in my local stores. Well, that wasn't bad. I can't recommend that brand of salmon burger. Those are no comparison to the fish burgers that Wild Grill Foods was putting together. So a little disappointed, but certainly not the worst camp meal ever. And I enjoyed all of the fixins that went along with it. All right, so thank you for sticking with me this long. I promised you a giveaway, and I do have a giveaway, and it is by far the nicest giveaway I have ever had the opportunity to host. You saw me using my Iceco APL35 fridge tonight, and Iceco has generously offered to give one of those fridges to one of you. So this is a 35-liter dual zone fridge. The two compartments are individually controllable. I currently have one set as freezer, one set as fridge. A lot of times when I don't need freezer, I run them both at a fridge temperature, and it just basically increases my capacity even more. Gives me a way to sort of divide up my stuff. I use the Iceco app to control it, to set my temperatures, and also just to monitor to make sure that everything is actually on and running and at a proper temperature. I'm not going to go into all of the detail about that fridge. I do have a whole dedicated video about it. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to enter that giveaway, keep watching. I'll have the details for you in just a moment. Iceco is having a big spring sale starting March 24th, 2025. You can use my link that's in the description below. You can save up to like $140 on the APL 35. Here are the details you need to know for the giveaway.
This is a pretty nice giveaway prize, and Iceco does have a few strings attached. You must be subscribed to Iceco's website, which you can do by scrolling to the bottom of the page at icecofreezer.com, or just wait for the pop-up screen to appear. As usual, the giveaway is limited to the 48 continental US states only. To enter the giveaway, leave a comment below about how you plan to use the fridge and include the hashtag Iceco. The winner will be chosen in a random drawing of qualified entries. The giveaway ends on Friday, March 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific. If your entry is drawn, I will notify you with further instructions. Good luck.
Full disclosure, Iceco is a partner of Softroading the West. They did provide me with the fridge to review some months ago, and I do receive a small commission if you purchase an Iceco fridge using my link below. Iceco did sponsor this video that you've watched today. I hope you've enjoyed it. For now, I'm gonna get that diesel heater running, get things nice and warm and dry inside the camper, hole up for the night, and I will see you in the morning.
winding open gates and this awesome campsite has made for a very enjoyable excursion in a truly lovely area of Oregon. But it is now time to air up and head home.